Welcome to Too Extreme for Mainstream. I'm your host, Sensorystowers, and I'm here to delve into the darkest corners of extreme cinema. In our podcast, we've previously brought you insightful director interviews and in-depth movie reviews. And one of the most popular on our channel, however, is a Serbian film. So if you haven't seen that movie that I covered, I suggest you go and buy it and watch it, but also listen to our podcast as well and let us know in the comments down below what you think. Now, this is a new installment where we'll be diving even deeper into these movies, from detailed reviews to examining their reception. Now, today we are talking about the controversial and unforgettable film Audition from 1999. Please note, due to the complexity of the names in this movie, I will only be stating last names or referring to the actors by their roles. For example, instead of calling an actor by their real name, I will be saying the father and/or the son. So get ready to explore the chilling depths of Audition, and let's uncover the layers of this psychological thriller and understand why it has left such a lasting impact on extreme cinema. Now, as a side note, this is one of my top 5 favourite extreme cinema movies ever made. If you want to hear about my number 1 favourite, which I just mentioned before, I will be uploading a deep dive with Henry Covert about a Serbian film, and that will be uploaded to my YouTube channel very soon, so stay tuned for that one. Now, Audition is a 1999 horror film directed by Takashi Miike. The film is about a widower, the father Ioma, who stages a phony audition to meet a potential new romantic partner. After interviewing several women, Ioma becomes interested in Asami, whose dark past affects their relationship. Now, this movie took in $131,296 at the box office, and Audition was originally a project of the Japanese company Omega Project, who wanted to make a horror film after the massive financial success of their previous production, Ring. The cast and crew consisted primarily of previous Miike collaborators, with the exception of Sheena, who had worked as a model prior to her career in film. The film was shot in about 3 weeks in Tokyo, Japan. Now, Audition premiered with a few other Japanese horror films at the Vancouver International Film Festival, but it received increased attention when screened at the Rotterdam International Film Festival in 2000, where it received the Furprescio, I think that's how you say it, prize and the KNF award. Following a theatrical release in Japan, the film continued to play at festivals and had theatrical releases in the United States and the United Kingdom, followed by several home media releases. Now, Audition was received positively by the Western film critics on its release. Now, with many noting that the final torture sequence and its contrast to the non-horrific scenes before. Now, the film has appeared on several lists of the best horror films ever made. I mean, we all know why, let's be honest. If you've seen it, you'll know what we're talking about. And has had an influence on other horror films and directors, including Eli Roth and the Soska Sisters. If you don't know who Eli Roth is, he directed Hostel, and the Soska Sisters were in the film American Mary and was featured also in a Lucifer Valentine movie. So go and check those out. Now, the father, Ioma, is a widower whose son says that he should find a new wife. Now, the father's friend, a film producer, devises a mock casting audition at which young women audition for the part of the father's new wife. Now, the father is immediately enchanted by an applicant named Asami. Now, the father cannot reach any references in Asami's resume, such as the music producer she said she worked for, who is, however, missing. Now, the father is so enthralled that he pursues her anyway. She lives in a tiny apartment containing little bedsides, a large sack, and a telephone. Now, for 4 days after the audition, she sits perfectly still next to the phone, waiting for it to ring. When it finally does, she answers, pretending that she never expected the father to call. After several dates, she accompanies him to a seaside hotel, where the father intends to propose marriage. She reveals burn scars on her body and, before having sex, demands that the father pledge his love to her. Now, deeply moved, he agrees, and in the morning, Sammy is nowhere to be found. The father tries to track her down, but as his friend had warned, all of the contacts on her resume are all dead ends. Now, at the dance studio where she trained, he finds a man with a prosthetic feet who tortured Sammy when she was a child, causing her burn scars. The bar where she worked has been abandoned for a year following the murder and disembowelment of the owner. The police found 3 extra fingers, an extra ear, and an extra tongue when they recovered the body. Now, he has hallucinations of the body pieces as this person at this place is telling him about this information. Now, meanwhile, Sammy goes to the father's house and finds a photo of his late wife. Now, she becomes enraged. She drugs his liquor. Now, the father comes home, pours a drink, and is now drugged. This is where the fun begins in the movie. A flashback shows that the sack in Sammy's apartment contains a man missing both of his feet. Oh, it's gruesome, isn't it? His tongue, 1 ear, and 3 fingers on one hand. He crawls out and begs for food. Now, Sammy vomits in a dog dish and the man hungrily consumes it. Now, Sammy injects the father with a paralytic agent that leaves his nerves alert and tortures him with needles. She tells him that, just like everyone else, he has failed to love her only. She cannot tolerate his feelings for anyone else, even his own son. She inserts needles below his eyes and cuts off his left foot with a wire saw. Now, the son returns home and Sammy attacks the boy. Now, the father appears to suddenly wake back up in the hotel, his current ordeal seemingly to be only a nightmare. He proposes marriage and Sammy accepts. As he falls back asleep, he returns to reality. His previous awakening was false, to find his son fighting Sammy. Now, the son kicks her downstairs, breaking her neck. Father tells his son to call the police and stares at the dying Sammy, while repeats what she said on one of their dates about her excitement on seeing him again. Now, critics have considered Audition as both feminist and misogynist. Mickey has stated that when he met journalists in the United Kingdom and France, he found they commented on the film's feminist themes when Sammy gets revenge on the man in her life. The film set up Ioma with traits and behaviours which could be considered sexist, a list of criteria for his bride to meet, and the phony audition format he uses to search for a future wife. Tom Mez, author of Agitator, The Cinema of Takashi Miike, stated that the torture sequence with the mutilation of Ioma can be seen as revenge from Sammy. Dennis Lim of the Los Angeles Times examined similar themes, noting that the film is ultimately about the male fear of women and female sexuality, and the women are blatantly objectified in the first half of the film, only to have Sammy redress this imbalance. In the second half, when she becomes an avenging angel, Chris Pizzello, I think that's how he says his name, Chris Pizzello, I'm going to name it that, writing in The American Cinematographer, stated that one plausible approach to interpreting the film is to see the final act as a representation of Ioma's guilt at his mistreatment of women and his desire to dominate them. Ioma develops a paranoid fantasy of an attacking object because he harbours sadistic thoughts towards women. He develops a fear that the object will retaliate. Contrary to this, Mickey has stated that the final torture scenes in the film are not a paranoid nightmare dreamed up by Ioma. Tom Mes has argued against the feminist portrayal of the film, noting that Asami is not motivated by an ideological agenda, and that acknowledging that she takes revenge on a man who has lied to her would be ignoring that she has also lied to Ioma. Asami states, "I want to tell you everything" during the torture scene, implying she had not been truthful before. Mes also notes that the Avenging Angel theme contradicts a feminist theme revenge interpretation, given that one of Asami's victims is female. In Audition, the character of Asami is a victim of child abuse. Colette Balmain, in her book Introduction to Japanese Horror Film, described Asami as just one more face of the wronged women in Japanese culture. They are victims of repression and oppression, and only death and loneliness remain for them. The film critic Robin Wood wrote that through her childhood abuse, Asami is taught that love and pain must be inseparable. The audience is led to identify with Asami through the victimization and also what Stephen LeDroux described as a patriarchal Japanese society. Elvis Mitchell, the New York Times, stated that the theme of the film was the objectification of women in Japanese society and the mirror image horror of retribution it could create. Tom Mes suggested that these themes can be witnessed in a scene where Asami feeds her mutilated prisoner and turns into the childhood version of herself and pets him like a dog. Mes concludes that this is done to suggest that what had happened to Asami's life had made her the violent adult seen in the film. Now, the main production company behind Audition was the Japanese company Omega Project. Omega were originally behind the production of Hideo Nakata's film Ring. This was a great success in Japan and subsequently the rest of Asia. Omega had problems setting up the release of Ring in Korea and had the company AFDF Korea work on a Korean readaptation of Ring. The following year, in 1998, Omega partnered again with AFDF Korea and other production companies, including creators Company Connection, Film Face, and Body Sonic to make the adaptation of Ryo Murakami's 1997 novel Audition. Omega wanted to create a film different from the supernatural theme Ring and chose to adapt the novel, which lacked this trait. To attempt something different, they hired a screenwriter and a director, Takashi Miike, and also the screenwriter being Tengen, I think that's how you say his name, who were not known for working on horror films. Prior to Audition, Tengen was best known as a screenwriter for working with his father, I cannot pronounce his name, apologies, on the L, which won the Palme d'Or in 1997. People from afar are going to be laughing at me for not being able to pronounce these names. I do apologise. To create Audition, Miike worked with many of his previous collaborators, such as one cinema photographer, and he spoke about his cinema photographer by saying that he was very sensitive towards death. Both of his parents died very young, and it's not something he talks about much. Now, Miike also noted that he felt that this cinema photographer was living in fear and that sensibility comes through in his work. It's something I want to make the most of, he says. The film score was composed by an Asian music producer, and I had previously composed work for Miike on films such as The Bird People in China, and another film editor also worked on it as well, and he had also worked with Miike on early works such as Lady Hunter, Prelude to Murder in 1991. Now, one of the actors wanted to work with Miike and agreed to the role. He commented that despite not being a great fan of horror films, he enjoyed scripts, such as that of Audition, and that showcased human nature. Now, the model in the movie was cast in the film as Asami. Now, Asami's original name, which I cannot pronounce, but her career was primarily as a model, and she only began acting after being offered a film role while she was on holidays. Now, she first learned about Mickey through his film's Blues Harp, which made her interested in meeting the director. Now, when she met Mickey for the first time, they began talking about her opinions on love and relationships. On their second meeting, Mickey asked her to play the part of a Sammy. Now, she thought that the options and feelings that she expressed to Mickey were the reason she was cast in the role, and she tried to play the role as naturally as she could without going over the top. Now, Audition was shot in approximately 3 weeks, which was about 1 more week than usual for Mickey's films at the time. Scenes such as these in a Sammy's apartment and at the restaurant were shot on location in a real apartment and a real restaurant. Outdoor scenes were shot in Tokyo along intersections in one of the streets in Tokyo. Now, the torture scene at the end of the film did not initially contain a Sammy's lines, "Kiri, kiri, kiri." I don't want to. I don't want to copy it. It's creepy. But she initially whispered her lines while filming this scene, but after some discussion with Mickey, the two decided that having her say these lines would make the scene scarier. Exactly. As soon as I hear her going, "Kitty, kitty, kitty," I lose it. But anyway, now, she found that Mickey was having so much fun with that scene, and that Mickey was especially excited when her character's feet, well, the father's character's feet were cut off. For the special effects where the father's feet places, the female actress, Sammy, places acupuncture needles into the father, special effects makeup were used to create a mask layer which was laid upon the father's eyes, which is then pierced by the needles. Now, Audition had its world premiere on the 2nd of October 1999 at the Vancouver International Film Festival. The premiere was part of a programme of modern Japanese horror films at the festival, including Ring, Ring 2, and two other ones. One of them I cannot pronounce, I apologise, but another one was called Gemini. Audition was screened at the 29th Rotterdam International Film Festival in the Netherlands in early 2000, where it was shown as part of Mickey's retrospective. Now, Tom Mes stated that Audition received the most attention at Rotterdam, where it won an award, a prize, for the best film of competition. Now, the prize that was won was given by a jury of international film journalists who grant this award during the Rotterdam International Film Festival. Now, only films not in competition qualify for the award. Audition also won the KNF award voted by the Circle of Dutch Film Journalists. Audition was released theatrically in Japan on March 3rd, 2000. When asked about the reception in Japan, Mickey stated that there was no reaction as the film was shown in small theatres for a short theatrical run. Mickey followed up that the Japanese audience did not really know about Audition until it received a greater reputation abroad. It received its American premiere at the Seattle International Film Festival in 2000. The film was given its theatrical release in the United States on August 8, 2001. It eventually grossed $296,000 in the country. In the United Kingdom, Audition received screenings in 2000 at both Fright Fest and the Raindance Film Festival. It was released theatrically in the United Kingdom by Metro Tartan in mid-March 2001. It was Mickey's first film to be released theatrically in the United Kingdom. Now, Audition was released on DVD in the United States by Chimera, I don't know how to pronounce that, apologies, on June the 4th, 2002. The DVD included an interview with Mickey and a documentary on the Egyptian Theatre in Los Angeles. A new DVD was released by Lionsgate in 2005, dubbed the Uncut Special Edition. This release included an interview with Ryo Murakami, I think that's how you say it, a selected scene commentary by Mickey, and a clip from Bravo's The 100 Scariest Movie Moments. Now, Peter Scorn of IGN gave a negative review of the 2006 DVD, finding that the video was over compressed to the point that a distracting, shifting blockiness frequently in backgrounds that drew the eyes away from the actors. IGN concluded that the overall image quality is soft and fuzzy with weak black levels, murky shadow areas, and less than impressive colour saturation. On October the 6th, 2009, Shout Factory released a DVD and Blu-ray release of the film that featured an introduction to Mickey and the actress who featured in the film, a full audio commentary by Mickey and screenwriter, and a documentary featuring the cast. Audition was released in the United Kingdom on DVD by Tartan Video on June the 28th, 2004. The disc contained an interview with Mickey and liner notes by Joe Cornish. Matthew Leonard, Sight and Sound, reviewed this release, stating that the audio and visual representation was exemplary, while noting that the interview with Mickey was the only noteworthy bonus feature on the disc. The film was later released by Arrow Video on February the 29th, 2016. The Arrow Video release was exclusively restored in 2K resolution and was scanned from a 35mm into perspective. Now, on Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a rating of 81% based on a 74 review, with an average rating of 7.34 out of 10. The website's critical consensus reads, "An audacious, unsettling Japanese horror film from director Takashi Miike, Audition entertains as both a grisly shocker and a psychological drama." On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 69 out of 100, based on 19 critics, indicating generally favourable reviews. Audition has been described as an influence on torture porn. The term was invented by David Edelstein to describe films such as Saw, The Devil's Rejects, and Wolf Creek, offering titillating and shocking scenes which push the audience to the margins of depravity in order for them to feel something. Audition influenced American directors such as Eli Roth. Roth stated that Audition influenced him to make his film Hostel. Now, with Mickey even making a cameo as a satisfied customer of the kidnappers who let customers torture their victims. So guys, my overall opinion on Audition is it is a fantastic movie. It's one of those movies that you will never ever get another Asami, and you will never ever get another father and son duo like you do in Audition. The acting is phenomenal, the music is phenomenal, it's a fantastic storyline, and yeah, Takashi Miike pulled it out of the park with this one. He nailed it. And yeah, I definitely think everybody should go out and buy this movie. It is not overly bloods and guts, but it's just an overall build-up, suspenseful, type of movie that I think everybody will probably enjoy, especially if you are into the extreme cinema. It is on the mild side of extreme cinema, but it is definitely in that category of cult classics. So yeah, go and check it out. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something new with Audition. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Please leave any comments you have down below. What do you think of this new segment of where I go more in a deep dive about movies such as this one? If there is a particular movie you want me to deep dive into, then please let me know. I am in the process of doing my research on PDA Palio Pasolini's death, who directed Salò, The 120 Days of Sodom. That is another movie I am going to go in depth about, probably about next week now. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay safe, guys, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.